Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are officially at the end of Q1 of 2026, so I thought we could recap all the reads I've had between January, February and March, because I was going to do monthly wrap-ups but I haven't actually read enough to constitute doing one wrap-up per month. So what I've decided to do is I'm just going to break it down into Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4. And I've read 16 books so far this year. Not as much as I'd like to have read, to be honest, but I'm still happy with it. But Goodreads is currently saying that I need to read 8 books to be back on track to reach my goal of 100, which I think is crazy because I have till June to reach 50. Yeah, that actually makes a lot more sense now. I have to reach 50 by June and we're in April. Okay, anyway, scratch everything I just said. Goodreads is right. But we'll just get into them. And I was on a real thriller kick at the start of the year. The first 3 reads of the year are thrillers. 2 of them I don't have physically, so I can't show them to you. So the first one is The Intruder by Frida McFadden. Personally, I really didn't enjoy this. I rated it 2 stars. It's meant to follow Casey. She's in this cabin in the woods. She had to leave her job for some reason I won't disclose, and goes to this cabin, and there's this big massive storm that's meant to be coming, and she is in this weird position of like being stuck there, and then she looks out her back garden and there's a little girl. Not a little girl, but there's a girl out her back garden. And it's, does she take the girl in or not? She eventually does, and then like things unfold. But overall it was really lackluster. Like, I find that Frida McFadden either hits or misses with me. I'm never in between. I either love her books or I hate her books, and I really didn't enjoy this one. But I'm currently reading Dear Debbie, her newest release, and I'm really enjoying that so far. So as I said, again, it's hit or miss, but The Intruder was my first read of the year, and my first read of the year was a 2 star. So yeah. The next is That's Not My Name by Megan Lally. This story follows a girl who is found in the woods, but when she wakes up, she cannot remember her name, who she is, why she's there. Shortly after that, we have a man presenting to the police station where this girl is at, being like, I'm her father, I have all these things, so let me take her, basically. And the sheriff or the guard or whatever you call them, police, end up releasing her to him. And there's another story going on in tandem with this boy whose girlfriend went missing, but he was the last person to see her, and they were in a fight when they last saw each other, and he's trying to find her because people think that he did something to her when he didn't. And those 2 stories are going on at the same time, and in fairness, the plot twist really got me. I did not expect it at all, and it's a very good story, and I think I liked the whole psychological side of it because she was questioning herself the whole time as to whether the man she was with was telling her the truth or not. So very good read. Would highly recommend it. I rated it 4 stars. Would highly recommend if you're looking for a thriller to read. Next I have The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James, and I can't remember what I rated this. I rated this 3 stars. So with this, I was very confused. So we're following this woman in 2018, is it? Or 2017? In 2017. So this girl, Shay, runs a true crime website called The Book of Cold Cases. One of the stories she's really interested in is the 1977 murders that happened in the area which she lives in Oregon. And she happens to meet the woman by accident that like everyone thought did the murders, and was never proven that she was guilty. It was never ever proven that she was guilty. So everyone suspected her, but she managed to meet this girl by accident, and it's her trying to find the truth of the story of what actually happened. It gives me a lot of A Simple Favor vibes, if you've seen that. Kinda. But overall, I expected more personally. I think as well because she was like a true crime fanatic. I was expecting more from that, but I just felt that I didn't get enough out of it to rate it higher. But if you are a lover of true crime, I guess, maybe give it a go. But I didn't overly enjoy it, but I didn't hate it. It was good. It was 3 stars, and that's all we need to know. The next one we're moving on to is, I don't have it with me, I don't think, is Queen of Shadows. I finally finished Queen of Shadows, which is the 5th or is the 4th one. Wait, now I'm just going to double check. Wait, no. I have a lot of these books I don't physically have with me, so that's why I'm looking at my phone loads, because I have them on Goodreads. 4 stars I rated it, and Queen of Shadows is the 4th book in the Throne of Glass series. So I'm not going to go too much into it because obviously it's in the middle of a series, but this was the book where I was considering stopping Throne of Glass because I didn't think it was for me, unfortunately. And I was told by my friend Maria, she was like, just push on. She was like, the tandem read really changes everything, so push on and see how you get on. So I finished Queen of Shadows, really, really enjoyed it up until the very, very end. So rated it 4 stars, and we'll get into Empire Storms and Tower of Dawn later in this. But really recommend the Throne of Glass series. And if you're in a similar position to me, where you feel like by like Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, that it's like not giving what you thought Throne of Glass was going to give, because it's such a hyped up series, it's hard to go into it without thinking this is going to be a god tier series for me. But after Queen of Shadows, everything changes and it is phenomenal. Phenomenal. The next I read is Everything That Is Beautiful by Louise Nealon. This book actually isn't out yet. It is due out on the 2nd of April. So it's actually out in 2 days from when I'm recording this. And I rated it 4 stars. This is by an Irish author. The cover is absolutely stunning, but they don't have it up on Goodreads, so I can't show you. But I'll insert it up here. It's stunning. It's like the stained glass windowed cover. So this story follows, is her name Niamh? I think her name is Niamh. I just want to double check just in case I don't want, but yes, Niamh. So Niamh has always been friends with the Foley family. They have been like a safe haven for her for years. She doesn't remember a time where she hasn't been around them, and it's like they're her second family even though they're not her family. And she idolizes the father of the family, Liam Foley, and the story follows after an incident happens in the family, and Liam Foley has now passed, and there's 3 women in this family, Niamh, one of the sisters like in the actual family, and the mother, that have had the secret for years, and it's how they've kind of dealt with it over the years, and then them finding themselves after Liam passes away. And it's just a beautiful story. The one thing I do wish is that, I don't know, do I wish, because I'm just, not because I'm nosy, but I just think it would have added to the story, was to know more about what actually happened, and maybe like more of the relationship between Niamh and Liam in particular, to kind of get more of an understanding. But other than that, it was beautiful, and I do think it shone a light a little bit on things that happened a lot in not just Irish families, in a lot of families, and because of the guilt, the shame, the Catholic guilt and shame, that a lot of these things will be covered up and nothing will be spoken about because the shame of it, the guilt and all that. So I highly recommend it. If you haven't pre-ordered it, pick it up on the 2nd of April. The next one is No One Saw a Thing by Andrea Mara. I rated this 3 stars. Now, I went into this with extremely high hopes because I watched All Her Fault. on this television series. Not, like, I knew it was a book beforehand, but I just didn't think I was going to love it as much as I did, or I was going to be as shocked as I was. Like, I remember sitting there watching the episodes, and it was getting to like episode 5 and 6, and I was like, oh my god, like, are we ever going to get to it? Is there ever going to be anything actually interesting happen? Holy smokes, when you get to the last episode, it was like, and I was literally gasping with shock as to how amazing the reveal was. So I went into, I was like, if that book could translate like that to television, I can't even imagine what other books by this author are like. So I didn't obviously want to read All Her Fault because I was going to know how it ended because of watching the series prior. So I went into No One Saw a Thing, and this group of friends plus one of their wives, who's a friend of theirs now through him, are in London meeting up for this reunion, and they have their kids with them. The woman, I can't even remember her name, I'm not going to look it up, but she is with her 2 kids. They get onto the tube, but only one of her children gets off. And it's basically trying to find her child, to find who took her child and why they took her child. And it's a very interesting premise, but I just felt like it just was too dragged out. And then the person that ended up being who kidnapped the said child, I felt like there just wasn't enough of a reason for him to want to take the child. So that was where it like fell down a bit for me. It was like, what are we doing here? Why is this actually a thing, kind of thing? But anyway, the next one, I'm really been on a thriller kick this year. I don't know what's wrong with me. So I got this book from NetGalley. I think it is released as of now. Yeah, it came out on the 3rd of March. And I rated it 3 stars. It's called The Secret Lives of Murderers' Wives. The reason I requested this on NetGalley is because obviously if you are not a fan of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, it was a nice play on the name, and I was really, really excited. And I thought it would be kind of fun, like light-hearted. And there was parts of it that were. We could have had a fun kind of campy play on The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives with the kind of crime element. And I felt like the overbearing seriousness really didn't hit the mark for me. So it took the rating down a bit, unfortunately. The next is Empire of Storms. Oh my god! Empire of Storms, where it all changed for me. Do you know what? We can't talk about Empire of Storms without talking about Tower of Dawn. So we'll actually just do them both now. So Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn are a tandem read. So I read one physically, I read Empire of Storms physically, and then I read Tower of Dawn on my Kindle. And I found that was the easiest way to do it for me, because I was able to then just seamlessly go back and forth, not having to carry 2 big books around constantly. And I got a guide on Notion, and that's how I helped break down the tandem read for myself. But Empire of Storms, we're following Aelin and all her side of things. And then Tower of Dawn, we're following Cale, and he's been sent on a certain task, and Aelin and them are doing a certain task. And obviously, again, I'm not going to go too much into it because it is near the end of a series, but that's just who we're following. Because if you go into Tower of Dawn thinking it's going to be about Rowan, it's not. And I did. I thought, because we see a separation of Rowan in this, I thought we were going to be following his journey in this, but we're not. It's Cale. And overall, I didn't think I was going to need the tandem read / enjoy it / care about Cale in general. But I really, really did. And I really loved him. And he just changed in this book. He really, really changed. So I rated Empire of Storms 5 stars, and I rated Tower of Dawn 4.5 stars. And Sarah J. Maas has now become the first author to have 2 years in a row consecutively of being my 5-star. So applause for Sarah J. Maas for getting my first 5-star of the year 2 years in a row, which is crazy. Hopefully, if I'm reading Crescent City next year, she'll be the one next year. Next Next is my second 5-star of the year, No Matter What by Cara Bastone. This book follows Roz and Vin. They have had a very traumatic accident in their life that has caused them to not kind of just lose themselves but lose each other. They've separated and they've just been really, really struggling, and they both start working on ways to find themselves. And it's not just, as I said, not just them finding themselves, but finding their way back to each other and relearning themselves after this trauma and relearning how they fit as a couple post this trauma. And it is one of the most beautiful stories I've ever seen, because they very well could have split up and been like, we're not getting back together, the trauma was too much, we cannot be together anymore. But they managed to so seamlessly work their way back towards each other. And it's just beautiful. I was bawling crying. I think if your relationship has ever struggled in any way, I think that if you've been through any sort of trauma that you've had to work through in a relationship, which I'd say most relationships have, because this is just, do you know what? It's not even saying that if you've been through any of that. It's that this is so real to what happens in actual relationships that I can't say enough good things about this book. It's become my I don't know, will it be my favourite read of the year so far, because I'm currently reading a book that I think will be my favourite read of the year, but it is definitely up there with the top 10 so far. It's got a spot in the top 10, and that's all you need to know. Just read it. Just reread it. And if you haven't read any other Cara Bastone books, please do, because I'm planning to read all her backlist now because of just this one book. It's just, her writing is beautiful. She's the sweetest woman in the world, and she deserves all the flowers. Next, what was after? What We Did to Survive by Megan Lally. This is not out yet, I don't think. Yes, it is actually, sorry. It comes out today. I rated it 4 stars. It follows Hannah and her friend Emma, or Emmy. They are in Mexico on spring break, and they meet this boy, and Emmy becomes obsessed with him, wants to spend all the time with him, and basically they are set to go on this boat trip, but Emmy's and Hannah's Emmy's parents won't let them go without Emmy's brother. So they go with Emmy's brother, and there's a storm starting the day that they are traveling, and they still go out on the boat anyway, which I think is absolutely crazy. I was so uncomfortable reading this the whole time. It's basically like, what would you do to survive? Because they end up trapped out at sea, and it's like what they have to do to be able to get back. And it had me so nervy and so uncomfortable because I hate the water, and I actually think that added to the experience for me, because I was like literally the whole time, like clenching, nervous, not knowing what they were going to do. So I highly recommend it. I rated it 4 stars. It's probably the best thriller / mystery I've read this year so far. Next, we have Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. This book is based off... Hamnet is based off the story of Hamnet. And Hamnet is a twin, and his sister Judith falls sick one day. But in the end, Hamnet ends up dead. Hamnet will not survive. And we're following kind of 2 stories. We're following Hamnet and his sister Judith, but we're also following his mother and father and how they met. And if you go into it not knowing that, I find that it's very confusing, because the way it's broken up in chapters, it's not like we get a then and now timeline. It's just like you're kind of expected to know what's going on, and I found that quite confusing. But once I got past that, the writing is beautiful. The characters and everything that they go through is heartbreaking, and the end of this book had me in tears, because how did you end it like that, Maggie O'Farrell? And I cannot wait to see the movie. That's the main reason it was on the TBR, so that I could go see the movie, and I highly recommend reading it before you go to see it. And yeah, I rated it 4 stars. Really, really enjoyed. Next is Wild Side by Elsie Silver. I don't have a physical copy. I read it on my Kindle. And Wildside follows Reese and Tabitha. Reese is a WWE wrestler. And then we have Tabitha, who's a chef in a restaurant, or owns her own restaurant, I think. And they come together through very unfortunate circumstances. So Reese had been renting out his duplex next to his place to Tabitha's sister, but Tabitha's sister has passed away, and which leaves Tabitha to be the guardian of her son Milo. But lo and behold, the sister actually put Reese as the legal guardian, so they end up getting married out of convenience to try and help Reese, because Reese doesn't have citizenship in Canada and his job is in Florida. It's so beautiful. I love them so much. It is my favourite book in the Rose Hill series. I rated it 4 stars and you just need to read it. He is so daddy. I love it. Next was A Man Called Ove by Frederick Bachman. If you know me, I have become obsessed with Frederick Bachman over the last year or two. And this book is absolutely heartbreaking. Ove is a very, very grumpy man. And you follow him kind of like people are annoying him. They aren't meaning to annoy him and they don't intend that, but they end up annoying him. But he ends up helping them always. And it's this story of him not really wanting to be alive, but then finding little reasons to stay alive. And you do not want to read this when you're going through something, because it's so heartbreaking to watch him like struggle through interactions. But then when people start to understand him, how beautiful that is, and how much, like, how better his relationships with people are when they start to understand him a bit better. And Frederick Bachman's writing style is phenomenal. No matter what, all his writing has I've always taken something away from every story I've read by him. And my favourite is still the Beartown trilogy so far, but this was just a beautiful story. Next is The 3 Lives of Kate K. I gave this 3 stars. I'm just going to read you the synopsis, I'm just going to try and get a better understanding, because I got a bit confused. So Kate K is an author, but Kate K is also these other people, not through history, but like a traumatic incident happens to our character who ends up being Kate K, and she ends up leaving her life, assumes a new identity, then assumes a new identity as Kate K, and that's what it means, The 3 Lives of Kate K. But I found the way the story was told to be quite interesting. I didn't expect the ending, and if I'm being frank, the ending kind of annoyed me a bit. I didn't expect it to go that way, and I felt like there was another storyline going on within the story that wasn't needed if it was always going to end the other way. I found that this woman discovering herself and her sexuality, and the other characters, and because they speak about their sexuality and finding their sexuality a little bit, and I found that part of the story to be really compelling. But then it was just, there was too much at the end where I was like, there's too many loose ends, and it was very, very rushed, and the way I wanted it to end wasn't the way it ended. So take with that what you will. Overall, it was still an enjoyable read. The last read, my most recent read, was Wild by Kristen Hanna. I was very excited going into this because I'd read The Nightingale, and at the start of it, I was like, where are we going? Like, this is getting really boring. And then, like, it's like Kristen Hanna has this thing where she can, like, flip a switch, and it's like, whoa, that's why all this stuff meant so much. So going into this, I felt kind of similar, because it is on the longer side. It's like 450 pages. And I thought, okay, I might not be loving this within the first 100 or 200 pages, but I know by the end that I'll probably be like, oh my God, this is why all these things were laid out in such a way. But unfortunately, that was not the case. I rated this 2 stars, and we're following this psychiatrist who is trying to rebuild herself after something happens. She goes back to the town where she used to live. There's also this girl that has came from the woods. She cannot speak. She looks completely like destroyed from obviously being in the woods and kept in captivity out there. And Julia finds that like this might be her chance at redemption. I'm not going to go into too much more about it, but I just found myself at about page 300 being like, what are we doing? What is the point of the story? And just really not enjoying it. I still finished because God forgive me, I can't DNF a book, and I never will, I don't think, but this took it out of me to finish it because I just was like, where's the point in the story? What are we doing? Like, do we need all these details? Probably not. So very disappointed, unfortunately. And I was hoping to finish Yours Truly before filming this, but unfortunately I didn't finish it. I still have about 200 pages left in it. Because I'm loving it so much, I don't want to rush it. So you will see that in my next wrap up. But those are the 16 books I have read in 2026 so far. Let me know if you've read any of these and maybe if I've gotten the wrong perspective on something. Because I feel like a lot of the books I had high hopes for have kind of let me down. But other than that, I think I've had, like, I'm so grateful to have 2 5 stars so far this year. And I have a lot of 4 stars, which is really, really exciting. But the other ones that I like are low rated are ones that I didn't think would be low rated. But overall, it's been a good reading year so far. I'm not sure if I'll reach my goal of the 100, but I'm hoping I will. Hopefully, I'll read 8 books in the next week to get myself back on track. Let me know how you're getting on with your reading goal this year. And talk to you guys in the next one.